Night Frights. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Alan, and I am your host here tonight. And I have my co-host, Mr. Chris, with me. How you doing, sir?
I am doing good. Welcome, Talking Dead. As you file in, please form an orderly line and then run around screaming.
Yes. And listen, if we happen to have some newbies stop in tonight, guys, please don't bite the new people.
Not right away.
No, no. Let them get comfortable first before you start nibbling. Okay,
Right.
then we could spread the disease, and everyone can be part of the talking dead. Anyway, so how has your week been, Chris?
Well, it's Thursday, and that's good. And I am happy to talk some Pet Cemetery. The rest of the time, yeah, yeah.
Tina's here. Yeah, I tell you. Um, it's funny. So Chris and I really do strive not to talk about our subject before we actually go live. And
Uneasy.
today, I sent him a message just asking him, "Hey, man, how's your day going? I know you've had a rough week." And he's like, "Oh, it's been horrible. It's this, that, and the other." I said, "Well, if you're like me, I'm sitting at the repair facility getting ready to spend a bunch of money on getting my vehicle fixed." And he's like, "Ugh." I'm like, "Yeah, well, it's okay. We can trade places. We'll trade places at another
Yeah,
day."
yeah.
So
Oh, this day sucks.
this,
Hopefully, the
this
night's better.
yeah. So, and as I have told my wife many times, this is my reprieve on the week. This is my a chance to kind of clear my head. So Tina, I'm glad to see that you're here. I know that Mar is here as well. If and I'm sure that our blue wrench of power is around Summers.
LG's always somewhere.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like a
So,
ninja.
like a ninja. So let's talk about Pet Cemetery.
Pet
Um,
Cemetery.
so it was really funny um, a- a- as I was putting together some of the advertising shorts and things like that for the week, uh, my wife goes, "I don't know why, but I feel like cemetery is spelled wrong."
Yeah, all week trying to type that out in a post, and I'm like,
Yeah,
is
that's
it
not.
two A's? Because it's supposed to be all this
Yeah,
messing up.
it's like
This
there's
isn't
supposed
right.
to be a C there, and damn kids with their spelling.
Right.
That somehow makes perfect sense to my childish mind.
It's true. It's true. As an adult, I'm like, there's three E's in cemetery.
Yeah, I love it. So, we had a wonderful cast for this movie. Dale Midkiff, who plays Lewis, the,
Mhm.
the the father of the family, um, and then Denise Crosby, who's not one of my favorite actresses, but I thought she did a great job in this. Hey, we have a newbie in the room already.
We
Adam
do.
Lauer, how are you? Appreciate you coming in.
Appreciate it.
So
Welcome to the Living Dead room. You, for you.
Gabba gabba, we accept you, one of us. Gabba gabba, we accept you, one of us.
Adam, before you got online, I did inform the rest of the room that if we happen to get a newbie in tonight, not to bite you yet, maybe take a little nibble, get you in
Right.
as a member of the Talking Dead. Just simply by being here tonight, you are a member of our crew. You are a member of the Talking Dead. Thank you and welcome, sir. We appreciate you being here. Um,
Welcome. Welcome. Welcome.
Welcome, welcome. And Tina's right. Fred, when Herman Munster played Judd in this movie, um,
Hmm.
for me, he was the anchor to this cast. His
Definitely.
role was so good. He did such a fantastic job. And then, of course, we had Brad Greenquist who played Pascal, or no,
Pascal.
Paxcal,
Paxcal.
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 Um, th-
Yeah.
who's this Paxcal guy?
Paxcal. He's just a guy that died while Daddy tried to save him. Nobody knows this. He's
Nobody,
just a
but nobody
creepy
knows.
guy with a head wound.
So funny. So take us through it, Chris. Let's talk about
Yeah, I mean, first of all, you had sent me a small, um, little behind the scenes stuff with Stephen King talking about this movie.
really neat stuff.
Very cool stuff. That part of the deal with turning this into a movie was that it's shot in Maine. You know, like all of my stories are in Maine, and I want it shot in Maine.
Yeah.
And
He literally said, as part of the contract when he sold the rights, he said, "I will sell you the rights, but as a part of that, it has to be filmed locally."
right, and they did so, and it does. It adds that little bit of authenticity to bring to a Stephen King title. We've talked about it once before that it's hard to bring him to the screen completely. And just off the top, this original 1989, he had enough hands on here to make it probably the closest, a very close representation of the book on screen, and um, it made for a good movie.
It
And
really did. And not only that, but, the fact that we find out that he basically wrote the story based on true life events that happened to him, right?
right,
Him and his wife um, bought a house. In that house, they had a trail going through the woods. The neighbor across the street showed them that it was a pet cemetery for the local
Mhm.
kids, and also that the road that was in front of their house um, did take a lot of the lives of the kids, and not the kids. I'm sorry, but of the children's pets.
right,
And he got the phone call from his neighbor, just like Judd called him and said, "Hey, there's something going on here. There's a dead cat in the yard, and I think it could be girls." And so
right.
literally, he said the whole concept from this movie happened from basically his front porch to his neighbor's yard.
Yeah, yeah. And it's this rural setting is kind of at home for me too, because we live on, especially as a kid, it's actually much busier now. We are more of a highway that we're on now, but as a kid, that's where us. I mean, you had some traffic, but it was the big trucks that
Right.
we're going past. We still have that with our we're lucky to be about 150 yards up off of the road, so
Yes.
our pets were able to you know not have to worry about it. But it was always that fear. So yeah, it's that rural setting, the path in the woods. I live on a piece of property that had tractor roads from 100 years ago.
Yep.
So like you have those paths. So it really hits home. It's something you can picture.
Absolutely. For me growing up, I wasn't set on a main thoroughfare as far as that's concerned, but when I was a child, um, uh, even all the way up through early high school years, the road that I lived on is a main connection between the two main entrances from basically north to south. It used to be one of the main highways that was or highways,
Right.
when it was a 2 lane between here and in Florida.
Right.
Um, so so we had that traffic all the time, but it wasn't so bad that we couldn't get out, like, walk to the store or anything like that.
Right.
But once you hit one of those 2 roads, which is a mile from my house,
Yeah.
nonstop.
Heavy
Nonstop,
traffic.
even the tractor trailers, so I had at
Yeah.
least a little bit of an understanding what that was like, but when I visited my grandparents,
Mhm.
it was the exact feeling that you get, exactly, so I definitely understood that, and I think Stephen King, it does so well because he's able to relay, as, Tina's even talked about,
Yeah. Right
relay
there.
the characters in the description to you so much that it makes you feel like, you get to know these people, as am I, LG. I'm a big, fangirl for Stephen King.
Yep.
Um, as long as I don't have to listen to him talk about politics, I'm happy.
Right.
Um, not that I disagree with him or agree with him. I'm not saying anything that way. It's just I don't want to hear anyone from Hollywood tell me anything as far as that's concerned.
Right.
Um, I because I have my own beliefs one way or the other. But as far as his stories are concerned, man,
Does a
I just
great
got the first.
job of that human side of it, the legitimacy of characters, like how they think, how they feel, how they react to. There's a real legitimacy there that
Yes.
he gets. That you could see that person doing this. You could see that
Yep.
person feeling this. So, and like Tina said, he does. He spends a lot of time in their heads to give you that inner character, what's driving them,
Mhm.
and
Yep.
and you really find that we start this movie off with learning that this family's moving from a big city in Chicago
Yep.
to this, country home.
Rural.
Yeah, in just super rural Maine. He's taking a doctor at a smaller hospital, kind of thing, and it's them with that. Like it's beautiful, like everything's perfect. There's a tire swing in the back, and the house is beautiful, and there's a path that goes into the back, and almost immediately, not all is as it seems, because poor
Well,
Ellie
and
keeps swinging on that
not only that,
tire.
yeah, not only that, but as they're standing there talking about how beautiful it is, blah blah blah, an 18-wheeler goes,
Yeah,
and they're like,
you get that. You get that in the back. The same thing with, I have a nice babbling brook in the backyard, and you go there and it's so peaceful. But you do every now and then hear that 18-wheeler, ripping the Jake brake as he's going by or something. So it's that's what it is. You've got that breaking up that peace and tranquility, and poor Ellie, the rope breaks on the tire swing and sends her flying. Which right away, the kid going towards the road is just, as an adult, it was creepy as a kid watching this movie, or a younger person. As an adult with two grown children now, oh my god,
uh-huh.
it gets me so agitated. Where it's like, somebody turn around and get the kid.
I will tell you, we had and when I say we, my wife had a similar experience. She had was out with our grandson at a pumpkin patch,
Mhm.
right? And it's an old road, farm area, blah 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 blah. And he turns and
Booked it.
which he never does for any reason. He turns and bolts
Right.
to the highway, and it was one of those things where, he was snagged up, but man, it was like,
Right.
oh,
As a
Tina,
parent,
this is perfect.
kids do that. Like it's they have that ability to be like, take that half a second that you blink in the wrong direction to be like, it's time to go, and
Uh-huh.
you're off and running, and you have to develop those cat-like reflexes to snatch them out
Yes.
of the air.
And you do.
Yep.
It's almost like, you wish you had spider web powers,
Absolutely, yeah.
pull 'em back. So,
Snatch them back
so,
up. Um,
at this point in time, Rachel is the one that catches him and keeps him from getting to the road.
right, and we've got, well, Fred Gwynn is the he does such a great job of the friendly neighbor, like the friendly old timer,
Yep.
that is just there to help, there to just like instant friends, tell you what it's about. Welcome to the neighborhood of two, kind of deal.
His voice, and excuse me, because I can't do it very well, but when he's talking to him like this, and he's talking just about that, and it makes you immediately go, "Oh, I like this guy."
Yeah,
Right?
he's that old timer kind of feel. That sometimes that is better.
Yeah.
It's got that New England bit of the accent, but that
Uh-huh.
low tone of, everything's all right. you know,
Yeah,
um,
when I was telling my wife this, I said, there was some really great, lines, some
oh yeah.
very great lines in the movie, but one that I had forgotten about was, when Fred excuse me, when Judd and Lewis were talking,
Hmm.
and they were talking about the daughter, Ellie, and Fred was like, I keep on calling Fred. Okay, from here on out, okay, Judd's name is probably gonna be Fred, at least when I'm talking about it. So,
Right.
um,
It just happens.
just because it is, uh, when he says, I hope that Ellie will eventually learn what death really is, and Lewis is like, what's that? And he goes, well, death is it's a time when the pain stops
Right.
and the good memories start. And I was like, "Wow, that actually is
It's a
a really deep thought."
pretty
I like
profound
that thought.
statement there. Yeah.
Yeah. It's, death is the moment when the pain stops and the good memories start. I was like, "That's awesome." Yes,
Yeah.
Tina, the ground is sour. That's
Ground
another
is
great
sour.
line from this movie.
Right. There are a ton of lines that you could go. Just about all of Fred Gwynn's lines are like iconic in some way, and
Yes,
share
yes,
and
they are.
have a memory of this movie.
Yep.
Yeah, and
Yep.
he introduces himself right away, helps snatch Gage up out of the road. Hey,
Yep.
watch the trucks, super truck traffic. Welcome to the neighborhood. Here's the crazy stuff. Oh, there's a
Here's a good
path.
part.
Where's the path go? We're going to talk about that later.
Yeah.
Because I'm
Yeah.
not going to bring that up in front of your wife and children.
And I love the fact that he literally says, "Maybe I can take you there sometime,
Right.
but later."
But later, yeah, let me let you in on what it is first, kind of
Let
thing.
me let me get let me at least let you get settled, feel good about the place before I start throwing this at you.
Right. And then we kind of switch off to now that they're in their home. Um, you know, old dad there is Lewis is taking a job as a doctor in a hospital, and we get our first glimpse of Pascal, um, Pascal, Victor Pascal, a jogger that was fatally injured, and
Yes.
he's brought
Hit by
in. Yep, he's brought in who could be dead. Maybe it's his last move in this world, on this realm anyway. And or is it all in Lewis's head kind of deal where it's a
and that's
moment?
really kind of a cool way that they did that because you don't really know.
Yeah, because he seemed like he was dead. Did he like come back just to give him a warning about the ground being sour, and
Yeah.
a premonition of things to come as far as where Lewis was headed? Very wild character, and we keep him through the movie. It's one of those, an American Werewolf in London kind of did that, where the dead
Yeah.
guy hangs around for a while. He's going to move some story around for you, and you know, constantly remind you that death isn't far.
No. We're gonna do this all night, aren't we?
Pretty much, pretty much. I don't think, yeah, it's just going to
As long
happen.
as I know as long as I know the rules, I'm okay to play the game.
We're doing it. We're doing it. So yeah, it's um, so we have that moment where his, you know, Kate Pascal is dead. Lewis is sleeping, and he has a dream that he awakes from, of being out in the woods, in the cemetery, in the dirt, and everything, and wakes up in a fright, but yet his feet are all muddy.
Yeah,
So,
and I love the fact that in the dream he's literally like, when Pax Cal's like, you know, he points at the deadfall of all the trees, and you see
mhm,
that light glowing behind it. He's like, you know, that's don't go beyond. The
right,
ground is sour.
right,
Um, you know, um, so
very
uh,
foreboding dream. So
meow. Welcome, young lady. How are you? Um, real quick, Miss Kitty, I believe you have been in our chat room before. Am I correct on that?
believe so.
I believe so as well. Welcome. We wanted to be sure to welcome you. Um,
But yeah,
I'm
and we're we're uh, we're left to believe that he was out there roaming around in the pet cemetery beyond where it should be going, and is
yeah, I love.
warned, don't go there.
Yeah, don't go there. I love the fact like you said, that he's having the dream and he's doing that, but then all of a sudden you see that his shoes are muddy. So it's like, was it a dream? Was it a not? Was
Was
it
it
a
or
dream?
not? It's a great job of playing that in your head kind of thing. That we're not sure if it's real or if it's not. Is his feet really muddy and the bed is really full of mud, or is it in his head? We're not sure.
Yeah, it's just
Either
part of the
way, this man has been warned. Don't go beyond a deadfall. I mean, he had a scary face kind of in there too, with all the nasty trees and stuff. Stay away. Stay away.
stay away.
So yeah, and now we move to a Thanksgiving where Lewis decides he's going to stay back. There's some friction between him and the in-laws.
Him and Dad. Yeah.
Yep, they don't get along. So the family takes off to Thanksgiving without dear old dad, and poor Church wandered out into the road, and he gets a call from Judd that I think it's your cat.
Yep. And this is where this whole um movie basically started for Stephen King.
Yeah, right. This is the real life that he brought into the
Yeah.
book, and this moment of finding the cat. And I will say the movie does a good job of how it's described in the book of Velcro,
Yes.
um, because of the frost, and he had been dead for a minute, and uh,
Yeah, that
it,
sound disturbed me the
it
first time
does,
I
man.
saw
It's
it.
so I remember reading the book and it being described like Velcro, and then watching the movie. It's still like, okay, they got that part pretty good. And Judd feels bad. I mean, this is what drives this whole thing: is that, you know, okay, I'm going to take you to a place. You're going to follow me. Basically that Ellie should learn death, but maybe not right now.
Yeah.
She might be onto something.
She
He
might be.
might be onto
Well,
something
I don't
there.
think it's that I think he understands that we as adults are oftentimes overly protective of children. That's why.
True.
That's why.
It gets that feeling, man.
Yeah.
You're messing with kids.
Yeah, but, to be fair, you read, The Stand, and that whole movie is about the child,
Hmm.
or the whole book, I should say, series. The whole series is about you think it's about Roland, but it's really not.
Right.
Um, I just watched or just got through listening to Desperation, and the child in that, story was basically, up till the very end, the hero of the story.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he's not always against
Just mostly.
just more.
Just mostly. Especially his earlier work. I swear.
Yeah.
Basically, Judd, packs up the shovel and follow me, and they trek beyond the cemetery, because when they stop there, he's like, "What circle are we picking? The inner one, the outer one? No, you're gonna follow me. Don't stop. Don't look down. Keep moving. This thing will kill you. I know how to get through here because I've taken a step or two through here." And old Judd just kind of weaves his way right through the deadfall, and then we've got, of course, Lewis falling behind him. Um, so you get a sense of the danger that is climbing on deadfalls. I've done that, where it's a
I have as
massive
well.
trees coming through there. And any one of them can shift at any moment. So you do have to be careful. And they take a long walk to a Native American burial ground,
Yes.
and he describes to him that, which is funny because we're going to bury the cat here, and then I'm going to take you back and we're going to have a beer, and I'm going to talk to you about how we've things have been buried there before, pets, um, and didn't quite come back right. But he felt bad for Ellie, so maybe church will be different, and
Mhm.
not so much.
No. Yeah.
Church
And
comes back, and not a good kitty.
oh, he's so pretty though. He's so I will say this, I, ever since I've watched this, anything else I see with a cat in it, I automatically to myself say, "Oh, look, it's church."
Right, right.
I don't own a cat, but if I did, I would call it church.
Probably, probably. But yeah, it comes back. The eyes glow. He's not right. He does not like Lewis one bit.
No.
Scratching him up, uh, and Judd explains that he revived his pet dog, and that um, the dog didn't come back quite right. He ended up having we have a old Yeller moment between young
Yes.
Judd and his mother of "come get your dog," and
It smells like the ground it was buried in.
right, creepy, and having to put his dog down again. And but church might be different,
Yeah.
and church is just, it's funny when they come home and all the other people interacting with the cat seem fine, and
Mhm.
it's just Lewis that the cat despises, um, which is kind of strange. I mean, we have poor Ellie, like, he smells bad, like we have to get
Yep.
the kitty a
We
bath.
we give him a bath. And I love this. Tina mentioned this line from the movie earlier.
Hmm.
"Oh, he's your cat, Louis."
Right.
You know?
It's one of those great quotes where it's like, it's always your own. and your own always comes home,
Yeah.
where you're just like, damn, and
Yeah.
it's said in that slow Fred Gwynn voice that just makes you like, oh man, like
Like,
that's
can
pretty. That doesn't sound good.
it's
Does not sound good.
it's good to see you, my friend. Thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Absolutely. And so Ellie doesn't quite learn about death.
No.
But they decide to have a barbecue party picnic. It's Ellie's birthday. They're celebrating a birthday out in the field. It's
Hi.
beautiful, beautiful stuff going on. One funny little thing is if you listen carefully, Judd is talking about, and the dog killed 4 people. And it's a reference to Cujo that's going on in a
Yes.
conversation at the table, which I thought was
Yes.
pretty cool. Caught it this time.
Well, it's one
I
of those
didn't
little
catch it the
nuggets.
last time. Yeah, like it's that throwback, and it's a grand time. Gage is having a great time flying this kite. Get it higher, go go go, and Gage finds a way to start walking off when Dad is paying attention to the daughter.
He drops the spindle and the kite. So as we all know, the kite is going to now take that spindle flying,
Mm-hmm.
and Gage is now chasing that spindle of twine
Right.
towards the road.
Yeah, and as you see, Judd is the first person to try to react to this, where he's the
Mhm.
one like, you know, um, the baby,
Boy,
get the boy, and Lewis tries, runs, and unfortunately does not get there in time, and Gage is struck by a fast moving truck. Um,
and I'm with Bean on this. I hated this part of the movie, but I also loved this part of the movie for a completely different reason. We're gonna rewind our VHS tape back now for
oh,
about, I don't know, 3 minutes in the movie, and, when you see the truck first, l y you know something bad's getting ready to happen because 'cause they've already talked about the trucks, right? And you see the truck actually leaving the plant, so that's when you start to get the hint, something's not gonna be right here." But they switch to the inboard of the truck, and the truck
right,
driver's driving, and he reaches down and turns on the radio, and he starts playing "Sheena's a Punk Rocker" by the Ramones.
right.
And then he starts singing "Sheena's a Punk Rocker" by the Ramones, and I, 17, 18 year old Alan is watching the TV going, "Sheena is a punk rocker," right? And totally loving the fact that Stephen King is a rock and roll fan and tries to put as much of that as he can,
Right.
um, into his movies, and which is why, again, this movie is good, but it's not Maximum Overdrive with the soundtrack by AC/DC. But, hello, Charles, it's good to see you, my
Sir
friend.
Charles, how are you?
So that being said, yeah, it's but the way the scene turns out, it's like, wow, it's rough.
Heavy stuff, and Judd feels like now I do have to say something that a lot of people skip over is the funeral scene where uh, they're grieving. Every This is heavy grief. This is a young child, and
Yes.
at the viewing service, the father-in-law and Lewis get into it. The father-in-law blaming Lewis, you should have been there, you're never there, you don't care, knocking the coffin over. Oh my god, like crazy.
Horrible, horrible scene.
Terrible moment.
And it was really one of those when you're watching it, you're like, "Oh my what?" I
Oh
mean, you felt bad
no.
for the family, and yeah, and the casket falls over, and oh, it was so bad. I mean, it was so rough. Ah.
Yeah. Yeah, heavy moment. And the poor boy is taken. Obviously anyone's going to be struck by grief, but Judd has that feeling that it's going through his mind to take Gage up to the Micmac burial grounds, and um, it don't do it. And he
He's
tells
like,
him, "Remember when you asked if anybody did this with a person? They
"I
did."
told you no, but
I,
we did."
sadly,
I
Bill
hate to say this.
Baderman. Yeah, Bill Baderman decided that when Timmy died, he'd take Timmy up there and bury Timmy, and he ends up coming back going crazy. He can't control the kid, who's,
It becomes almost cannibalistic, where there's a couple scenes where you see him, he's actually acting like a zombie, like you would think, where he's trying to
yeah,
kill
trying
him.
to bite and
Well,
fight, and if you listen closely, he's saying, like, it's all pain, like, you did this to me, kind
yeah,
of thing that's
let me
going on.
go. Please let me
Right?
go.
Why did you
Yeah,
bring me back? That
yeah.
it's the pain of being dead. Where did we see that
Yep.
before?
Uh, uh,
Hmm.
uh,
Yeah,
I
it'll
know.
come to me.
I know where it's from.
Right.
No,
Return. It's
it
that
is a
pain.
Return of the Living Dead throwback.
Definitely.
Which I think was a great way to say that same thing, is that you know it, the decay. Once they're reanimated, the decay is killing them, because it's something they feel,
Still
the pain
going.
they feel continually.
Right.
So
And
yeah,
there's
very very
definitely some malevolent forces going on here. And in a grief-stricken stupor, of sorts, Lewis digs up his son, and you know, uh, excuse me, why her name
Well,
popped out of my
first of
head.
all, what he does is he plans to purposely sends his wife
Sends
and
Rachel
Ellie,
away. Right.
right, sends them back to Chicago,
Hmm.
uh, it's, and he stays there by himself, which is a horrible idea in the first place.
Yeah. No,
Uh,
that's
you
not
know,
good. But he's got this planned, and that's why Judd tells him this, because Rachel and Ellie are away,
yep.
and of course they
Because
go.
sometimes dead is better.
Sometimes dead is better.
Yeah.
Absolutely, and yeah, he decides to pick him up, take him out to past the deadfall. Overwhelmingly grief stricken, and oh, Sir Charles, this is the first time he's here.
No, I believe Sir Charles
Thought
has
he
been
came
here, but
before.
it's been back before we initiated. So I agree with you. Let's initiate Mr. Sir Charles. Mr. Charles, just because you're here tonight, you're a member of the Walking Dead, and as we like to say,
Gabba gabba, we accept you, one of us. Gabba gabba, we accept you, we accept you,
you
one of us.
are now a member of the Talking Dead. Thank you
Thank you,
very much.
thank you, thank you, thank you, thank
Okay.
you.
Okay.
And all this time now, Pascal has been with Lewis, warning him, and now Pascal decides Lewis ain't listening. I've got to get this point across, and starts visiting Rachel,
Mhm.
and manipulating that Rachel needs to go home, and she wants to go home, and manipulates the universe to work in her favor to find a way home, even though it seems like those malevolent forces are trying to keep her away, because the car breaks down and this happens and that happens, and everything's facilitated, even through a questionable truck driver giving her a ride. Um, Everything's fine, and
Yeah.
as
Such a great thank you. Did you see what Tina just put in here? Sorry about that. You ready?
yes,
I mean, the cat thing was splendid, so let's bury the kid.
what could
Perfect.
go wrong?
Nothing. Nothing could go wrong,
I mean, and you have to say, I mean, honestly, uh, again, as a parent looking back on this movie, the grief could probably make you do some crazy stuff. The thought
I
of
can imagine.
maybe it could work, it would be so overwhelming, especially at the age that the poor kid got it. So
Yes.
um, yeah, so as he's coming back and getting ready for Gage to come back or not come back, Rachel is on her way home. Poor Ellie is back uh, at Grandpa's house,
Yep.
screaming about how Pascal came to me and said Daddy was going to bury Gage up there. Like,
Basically, yeah.
you got to stop Daddy. And of course, Lewis gets the phone call. This is a little later. This is a little after. But Gage does come back, except he doesn't come back to Dad right away. Uh,
No, he comes back to
Dad, he
visit.
comes back to visit Judd first, and
Yes.
Judd felt it coming. I think he knew something dark and sinister was on its way.
Yeah, he purposely went and got a six pack and came out to the porch where he could sit and
Yeah,
watch over um the Creed household,
right.
to so that he could help try to intervene before anything went too terribly wrong.
Yeah. Um, Another great part with worrying about the daughter's dream, that it's a premonition. That's why
Mhm.
Rachel decides to go back in the first place. And Gage visits Judd, and poor Judd, something's in his house. I love the fact that that dark force that's there gets into the mind of the people that are there. Things are seen differently. And Judd, first, the Achilles tendon shot still makes me. Ugh.
Oh, oh. So I have to say this. You've heard me say this before, whether it's in this show or other podcasts that we've done together. Um, I generally do not like children actors in movies. I don't know why it is. They just seem to rub me the wrong way. But I'm gonna
The
tell you right
Kenny
now, my
factor.
yeah, Mike Hughes was so cute as Gage,
He just had
but
this
when they
look to
turned
him.
that dial over, man, he was creepy. I
He
was
did.
like,
He went from the cute kid to the hell no.
yeah. And how did they do that with someone that young? Oh
I,
my god!
I
But
tell
yeah,
you what, dressing him up in the little suit and the hat, uh, damn
oh,
dude,
which,
and
which
going
was the
through,
I love the fact that he was in the suit and hat with the cane, and Church was on the ground next to him, which was
yeah,
the exact same thing that was on that picture in grandma's house.
right.
Oh, so cool, so cool. And you're right, man. That tendon scene. That I don't know how many times I've watched this movie, and every single time I'm like,
Ugh.
ugh.
Ah, damn. And then right across the mouth. I mean, you get those chap lips right in the corner. Yeah, that
Gets that
hurts.
Joker, gives him the Joker
Oh yeah,
smile.
the Joker smile, absolutely. And crazy. And so Rachel coming home. This is where there's a dark force involved here.
Yep.
No question about it. It's not just sour ground. Kids come back messed up, or things come back messed up. Um, this thing lures Rachel to Judd's house,
Uh-huh.
um, and brings her into a flashback of sorts,
Of
as
her
of her
sister.
of her sister, who had what was like spinal bifida or something
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
Um,
Spinal disease.
right, where she couldn't move, she couldn't do things, so she was, and it deformed her to where it brings her into this house all deformed, and
This is why I love it when Darren shows up. Thank you, sir. I'm so sorry, but you're right. You're absolutely
oh,
right.
right, you were right there.
Yeah.
It is. I think that's what drew me. I love the monsters growing up.
I did
It
too.
was
I did too.
it's not everybody's cup of tea. I loved watching it. Again, Fred Quinn being in this was like, yes, 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 I'll do it. Um, and
Adam, I do too.
we've got this specter-ish Zelda, the diseased crazy woman, that is coming at her, and it's not. It's really Gage with the scalpel.
Yeah,
Um,
and I love the fact on how they jump in and out with that, pod racing Palpatine.
hey,
Hello.
Palps.
Hey, I believe we have a third. Here we go. You ready? This is
Let's
for
do it.
you, Mr. Palpatine.
Gabba gabba, we accept you, one of us. Gabba gabba, we accept you, one of us.
You, sir, are now a member of the Talking Dead. Thank
Welcome.
you for being here. We appreciate you so
Welcome.
much. Oh,
Yes, squirmy parts here. Rachel getting it in the eye. Uh,
oh,
it's just, oh man, there's a lot of stuff going on in here.
lot.
Um,
And
and
and I will say this, in the book, right,
mm,
when Judd gets it and Gage climbs up on his chest before he kills Judd, and he opens his mouth, he hears the demons of hell talking about how, his
Yeah.
wife is in hell and all this stuff, and I was like,
Right.
"Oh
The
my god,"
taunting.
yeah, taunting him, and I'm glad, though, that they didn't do that in this movie versus the book because, um, the fact that they left it on Gage and let Gage himself just be um, uh,
The
the
monster.
entity, if you will,
Yeah.
um, m led it to much more creepiness. Because as we've decided and said many, 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 many times, it would take an hour to do 2 or 3 pages of Stephen King's writing on screen if you were trying to delve out everything that was going on in their mind. So, yeah, I
Right.
loved it. Loved it, loved it, loved it, loved it, loved it. So,
Yeah, and so Lewis wakes up and finds little Gage prints in mud across the house. Um,
another eerie scene.
damn, I and receives a phone call. This is one of the most iconic lines to me and I've said it, I've quoted it many times, where it's um, first I came and played with Judd, then mommy came and I played with mommy. Now I want to play with you.
Oh, it
Oh
was so
man.
great. Oh, it
Oh,
was so
Gage,
great.
Gage, what have you done? Um,
Oh, it was so great.
really good. So now Lewis realizes, oh, this didn't work. That's not Gage. What have I done? It's time to put, right the wrongs here, and goes to his doctor's bag, um, trying to get Church to go ahead and here, eat the steak and get calm enough so I can inject you a poison and kill you, you crazy cat from hell. Um,
Which, I don't know how they did that. I don't know if that was a puppet or what they did, but man, that was so realistic, that
right?
cat. Oh, such a good job. Such
Yeah.
a good job.
And again,
So
Darren brings it up, but he thought he was 19. It was just Webster. The kid does a
yeah,
great job through this, where, he's trying to get. And I love that Lewis is trying to find him, and, you know, Gage is taunting him by hanging
yeah.
mommy up um, for decoration. I love he comes into the house and it's this like decrepit, decaying house of
It looks like
horrors.
almost looks like it may have been, like, partially on fire or something. I mean, it's
Yeah,
hard to I
it's
mean, this
Stranger
yeah.
Things. It's like the house only in the upside down. Um,
It's exactly what it looked like,
yeah,
and I'm not a I'm I get that reference, and I'm not even a Stranger Things fan, so
nice,
there you
nice.
go.
Yeah, it's definitely a creepy vibe through the house. I love that Lewis is just like he finds Gage after a bit of hide and seek, um, and he's just kind of welcomes him, like whatever happens, happens, kind of thing. I want to hold my son again. The heartache, um, figuratively and probably a bit literally,
Yeah,
by finally hugging Gage and Gage going at him with a scalpel,
uh-huh.
and tearing him up to where he finally subdues the tiny little kid with a knife, and the injection in the neck.
And I'm gonna tell you right now, the next line out of Gage's mouth, it hit home so hard when he just looks at him, and you could tell it's Gage at this point.
Yeah,
He's like,
yeah.
"Not fair.
No fair.
No
No
fair.
fair.
No fair." And
Ask
I was
LG.
like,
I do that all the time. I say that to her. Like she'll do something. I'd be like, no fair. No
"Oh,
fair.
no fair." When I do horror movie quotes with my wife, she literally just looks at me like, "What?"
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Sometimes they kind of start going over Kelly's head and be like, you quoting this? Yeah. Oh,
That's
yeah,
when
I
I
got
go,
it. I got it. Well, I
"Hey,
thought it
that's
was
okay.
funny.
I'm saying it for me, not for you."
Yeah,
I
fine.
find it
You don't
funny.
have to like it. I like it. I thought it
I
was
like it. Yeah,
hilarious.
I find it funny. You don't have to find it funny. But
Yeah,
yeah,
this
literally,
happens. You
that
know,
the look on his face too was total disappointment.
and the
Uh,
stumbling back and
yeah.
then the
Oh,
last little growl that comes
yeah,
from him. Just that where he turns his head and he's just like,
yeah,
oh, you did kill a monster, Lewis. Because
absolutely.
you're great. But having known that everything he had is gone. His poor daughter is now without a mother, without a brother. Dad did some crazy bad stuff and is not looking so hot right now. He's a bit. He's been stabby, stabby, pokey, pokey by Gage,
Yep. Stabby,
and
stabby.
yep, him and Gage played a little knifey spoony. He lost. He had the spoon. Uh, hey, Bone.
I love you, dude.
It happens, welcome,
Who was
Bone. Yeah, we know Bone. He comes in from the sidebar. We've met him in the chat, so we got a quartet of which makes sense. This being Pet Cemetery.
Gabba gabba, we accept you, one of us. Gabba gabba, we accept you, one of us.
Absolutely, Bone. You are now a member of the Talking Dead just by showing up. See how easy that was? There
Great.
was no fees, there's no penalties. You just come in.
Right.
We informed the rest of the chat, Talking Dead, not to bite you, maybe a little nibble
Right.
just to get you on our side.
Right.
You know,
Charles, Adam, you guys have been here long enough. If you get nibbled on, we told them to wait. They waited a long time.
Yeah. So, that all being said, I'm with you, Church, because, what Bone was saying that about Church, I was telling the guys earlier, every movie I've seen since I've watched this, every time I see a cat, I go, "Oh, Church."
Yeah.
If I had one, if I had a cat, I would get Church.
If it's a gray cat, that's definitely where I'm at. Because
Yep.
I stole my kid's pop. We got a little church inside there. So cool.
I'm thinking about offering him some money to have him send that to me.
Nope, it's mine. I take my claim.
Not fair. Not fair.
No fair. No fair. So poor Lewis decides, well, honey, let's give you a whirl up there in the sour ground. Let's see if there's still some sourness.
Okay. So Tina, before you say it, the cat and then Gage, he saw what happened with both of those, right? And and now he's gonna put his wife up there and be like, oh, no, Gage was just dead too long. This is a fresh dye.
They're trying to, like, in his own insanity, explain away how it's going to work this time, and that he is wrong again.
Wrong again.
Yeah, absolutely. Lewis is the definition of insanity. Let's keep doing this. Cat didn't work. Gage didn't work. Wife, really, dude? Second time, shame on you. Third time, dumbass.
Exactly. And I love the fact that he just, after it's all said and done, he comes in the house, he sits on the floor, starts throwing out the solitaire, just waiting.
Yeah. And he's waiting for Rachel to come back to him, which, she does. She comes in, oozing eye and everything. Great effect of
perfect. Yeah. Very,
knife.
very stomach turning. Yeah.
I'm home, honey. And she has maybe what would be a normal voice, nope. She put the knife behind her back. She sour ground, dude. And they embrace, and he starts kissing her, and she's got the oozy eye, and
it's literally like spraying out on him. And,
it's a little goopy, and we're going black before anything happens, but we hear Lewis screaming. We get that scream, and it's a over the top moment that they took into the movie, more so than the book. The book is a little more conservative as far as the ending, leaving it kind of
leaving it open for you to
unresolved.
Yeah.
So
and then if you haven't seen the remake's actually pretty good. And the ending is even more bleak on it. Because you have a child basically in the car locking the doors while its whole family is coming back.
Right.
It's bleak. It's so bleak.
And narrating this part as Rachel coming home is Judd. The soil of a man's heart is stonier, Lewis. A man grows what he can, he tends it, because what you buy is what you own, and what you own always comes home
Always,
to you.
always comes home
Ooh,
to you. Oh, rough,
yeah.
rough.
With Darren, like honestly, Fred Gwynn nailed it. Really sold this whole this whole movie.
Yep,
Especially tying it up in the end, so good. Uh, and the Creed family is -3.
-3. Yeah, and it's a good thing that Ellie is in Chicago with the grandparents because that's where she's going to live from now on.
Yeah, it's you don't want to come back. That's a terrible place.
Terrible place.
Now the book, there's a couple things that were left out from the book. There was an entire storyline on the Wendigo um, in the book that was a kind of it wouldn't have really fit with the movie. I like the way
No,
the movie kind of left that completely out,
I
as
agree.
well as
I agree.
yeah.
It
So
worked well for the book, but would not have worked for
no,
the
not so much. It ties in the First Nation culture kind of side of it, but um, it just wouldn't work. So,
Yep, agree.
but honestly, pretty close to the book movie. I think because Stephen King was there. You know, he wrote the screenplay.
Yep.
You know, he had his hands really into this, and what he sold off onto the producer was simply, "I'd like you to do it this way,
Yep.
and you can have the rights. And if you do
Yeah,
these,
and the actors even said, "Thank God that he did that because, it did put you in that mindset of the characters of the book simply because of where they were at."
yeah,
So that's yeah, fantastic, fantastic. And also, the producer when he went to buy the rights to it, basically said, "It's perfect the way it is. We don't need a whole lot of rewrites." You
right,
know, there's not a whole lot here we're gonna change. There was a couple things they had to, like you said, the Wendigo part of it, things like that, but,
yeah,
for cinematic reasons, but, yeah, it was, one of the this one and Carrie, because Carrie was really close to the original also, except for the rock fall at the end,
right,
and that was just it. Because Stephen King has a tendency to go, like he goes one of 2 ways. He either goes way over the top to end his stories, or he basically leaves them lay stagnant for you to
for
figure out.
interpretation kind of thing,
Exactly. Yeah, that's the reason that they have to kinda tie something up.
right,
Um, yep.
yeah,
Um, and you're right. Charles had said in the chat there that, this is one of Denise, Crosby's first films. I'm not a fan of hers.
all right,
She's not my favorite actresses, but I thought she did a very good in this role. Um, that's just
yeah. I think that she's done quite a few things here and there that I appreciate her in,
yep.
and I liked her in this role. She plays that motherly role of like wanting to protect your kids too much.
Yes.
That smother kind of
Which you understood why once you figured out what happened with her sister, right? I mean,
right
that kind of planted that on.
to not pain, not to really let them experience that darker side of life because she grew up with the darker side of life. So again, movie does a great job of right. Uh, uh, movie does a great job with um, truly letting you know that with that scene.
Yep. Yep, I agree. I agree. Listen, before we go any further, um, I don't know if the chat room knows this or not, but we have an important birthday.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, I think our chat room should probably sing happy birthday
Yeah,
because
you guys should sing. This is a very important day for horror fans everywhere. June 6th, 1947, Mr. Robert England was born. Um, happy
so
birthday. Freddie's coming
happy.
for you.
Yes, he is. So no, when we saw that, we definitely wanted to take a moment to during the show tonight to say thank you and happy birthday to Robert Englund. Because one, two, ready, come for you.
Yeah, I mean, it's he just this is the guy that was responsible for not wanting to sleep through most of the 80s and early 90s.
Yep.
That
Yep.
he'd be the first one to get you. So
Yes, he would.
happy
So
birthday to Freddie.
happy birthday, Mr. Robert Englund. So All right, so here comes the fun part, Chris. I have not. Oh, Tina, we are absolutely jealous. I'm jealous. I don't know about anyone else, but
Definitely.
I am jealous. Um, so I don't have any clue. I haven't. I have purposely tried to not think about this yet. But
Well, let's start
we
with
have
let's before we
we
go with
have
the
to
shit
rate
list.
though,
Let's just rank the movie itself first, as far as cinematically, um, our own little Rotten Tomatoes 2 thumbs up kind of deal.
right?
Rating
So
1 to 10, 5 being a movie that hits all of the marks, 10 being transcending film, one being what did I step in? It's all over my shoe.
and I'm angry that I spent an hour and a half of my life watching this movie, right?
Right,
So
right.
we don't want you to be angry. Where would you, chat? You guys be sure to put your ratings in the chat room as well. Chris, where would you, on a scale from 1 to 10, where do you think you would put Pet Cemetery?
This is a solid movie. I said it before we started really talking about it off air. Was the nostalgia didn't wear off for the movie? It still hits just as well as it
It
did in
does.
1989. Like it
It
was.
does.
It There's nothing dating it of sorts because it's so believable in a rural county, a rural town like this. So,
Yes.
um, watching it again, still one of my favorite Stephen King movies to watch. I'm gonna have to give this a high rating. I'm kind of with Bone. This is a 9 for me. Um,
Yeah.
Solid movie, start to finish. We hit all of the marks. Keep that creep factor. Uh, yeah, uh, I give it a 9.
I'm going to go just a little less, but not much. I'm going to do an 8 on this one. And the only reason I'm saying that is there were a couple things in this that made me kind of scratch my head, right? And it was just like I said, it was just small things.
Right.
The blatant disregard that Mr. Creed had for his son
Mm,
with Lewis. He because twice he was out in the yard, twice he turned his back on him, twice he let him get to the road before he even moved.
yeah.
So for him to be so grief stricken, or was he also blaming himself? And I think that was
Oh, I'm
part of it,
sure.
but it wasn't fully explored in that direction. Had this movie leaned more into the Fred Gwynn, uh, there you go, 8 for Judd and Lewis. That's it. Uh, the the thing that made this movie for me was the relationship between Judd and
Oh
Freeze.
yeah.
As far as film is concerned, the iconic lines, the ground being sour, the sometimes dead is better, as I said earlier, the definition of death being a place where pain stops and good memories begin. Those are the things that elevate this movie to me. I think had I had more love for Rachel in this movie, I probably would have moved it way up higher than that.
You understand where she comes from, but she does come
Yep.
off as a
And it's because of the actress, it's not because of the character. So, that's why I say that. So trust me, if I'm giving it an 8, that's a
oh, that's a good one.
strong
You're a little more
that's a strong
conservative
number.
than I am. I like what I like, and I give it a ranking as I like it. So,
So that
definitely got
being said, now we know where we're at. We know where the chat's at so far. Although we need to tell Charles not to watch our review on The Shining because he's not going to be happy because it's his second favorite Stephen King movie.
right.
Um, I think looking at his and you put Shawshank as number one. It's great. That's freaking
Oh, I love
fantastic.
that movie.
I would put either Stand by Me or Green Mile in front of Shawshank. That's just me.
Right.
Um, but our sometimes hysterical and intentionally tasteless um, uh, movie list, or as we like to call it, the shit list, because every time we look at it, we go, "Shit, we really did that."
Shit, we
Is
put
not,
that where?
yeah, it's not really based on the star rating. It's more based on rewatchability and how we feel about the movie as it stands against its competition.
Right.
Langoliers is almost as good as Maximum Overdrive, but as we know, Maximum Overdrive is the greatest Stephen King adaptation
Oh, come
ever.
on, that was great. The Langoliers. I remember watching that. That was
Shh.
rough.
And I liked the book, so I was the story, so I was really excited, and I was like, "Oh, what did they
What's going on
early
here?
90s CGI?" It's
Yeah, they
so
tried so hard.
they did, dude. They did.
Maybe too hard.
Anyway, uh, where do you think you would like to put this on our sometimes hysterical, intentionally tasteful shit list?
Yeah, shit. Where does it go?
Yeah. Where does this one go?
Now, looking at our top five, it is not a top five. Not better than any of those five movies for me. Great
No.
movie. And it might have gotten a higher rating overall from me, but I might rate a movie one way and love it a little differently because
Yep. Yep.
I
All
love
right,
it.
so let's look at the next 5 on the list. Would you put it in front of any of these?
Um, so this is where it starts getting hard. Our top five is our top five. Our top 10 is like holy shit
Uh,
list.
these are all good movies.
Yeah, they're solid movies. No, I think
I think it needs to go right here.
you know what's funny? I was going to say the same thing right above Mother's
Right
Day.
below Tucker and Dale.
We're just on our own possible, just outside the top 10. Um, I could even. So where do we've got? Mother's Day is what 12.
Uh-huh.
We got
And I
above
love
Mother's
that.
Day.
I don't know why. I fell in love with that movie. Um, I think nostalgically because of that, if we were to go either 11 or 12,
Yeah,
I would.
I think that's one of those where you could flip back and forth because Tucker and Dale is just us. I can watch it again right now and still laugh just as hard.
Yep.
I'm a
Yep.
big Alan Tudyk fan.
I am too.
Love
I am
that
too.
guy in everything he's in. Steve the Pirate, Wash from Firefly, just all good. Um, and so 11, 12, I am happy with that.
Okay. Okay.
Solid pick.
I,
So, oh shit, look where we put it.
oh shit, that's where it's at. And you know what happens when I switch back to the main screen, right?
Is this going to turn
Locked
into?
in. So are you sure it's there? Sharknado was low on the shit.
We know LG. I love you.
Yes, yes. We
We
love
love
you,
you,
honey.
but we love Sharknado. But no,
All right, it's where it's at.
locked in. We've got a top 15 movie.
Yay! And literally, it is just right directly outside that range. So I'm okay with that. I I really and truth. Oh, I love this. We both. The thing is number one. That's absolutely positively true. It would take a miracle to take it out of number one.
Yeah, it's funny. It's funny how that ranks for certain people. There's some people that are like, it's not that good of a movie, and there's some compelling argument to it. I get it. It's not for
Yeah.
me. This movie hits so it film wise. We talking with Mr. Matthew Gadish coming on. I mean, we love that movie.
Yeah, it is fantastic.
You gotta have balls this size.
It it's hard to review that movie because all you wanna do is gush about how great it is, you know?
Yeah,
You know,
it's
'cause
love that.
it's not like we can get to the end and I can go, "Well, I should put this higher on the list, but, I really did not like this person," or whatever, 'cause that's not the way it is in that movie at all.
Right.
Um,
And I will say, Charles, that is a movie that I'm gonna, if I have to, I'll force it on Alan because I love Avenger Rising.
so this will be a movie where when we go there and we watch it, we're gonna wind up in the boxing.
I think so. It's gonna be one of those movies. I really do.
Yeah, 'cause I hate
I
it.
like that figure. Did you?
I
Oh,
hate it.
uh,
Now, I was young, a little bit younger when I watched it, so I'd like to watch it again. I might not hate it now, but I hated it.
supposedly, like in some areas and some people believe this to be a Warhammer 40,000 origin story
Oh,
on
I can
what
see
was
that.
on the other side that
Um,
evening.
I
So,
will tell you though, what's funny is coming from a household, raised in a Pentecostal-ish household.
mhm,
That one scene was more disturbing to me than The Exorcist as a whole,
it's true.
and that may be why I hated it so bad because it
Could
struck
be.
me in a really funny spot.
Can hit you weird.
Yeah, it hit me weird. So, I may watch it again now and be like, "Oh, this is great," but back then I was like, "Yeah, fuck this movie, I hate it," 'cause it felt like it took forever to get to anything that was really scary. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. Or we'll have to find a spot in the calendars to throw that one in there and
Well,
see
we've got some good
how it
stuff
ranks
coming
up
up,
there.
by the way.
Absolutely, absolutely. Lots of stuff. Lots and lots.
Lots of
There's
stuff.
some stuff we keep bumping because no, I'd rather do this.
Yeah, because there's other good stuff coming up, right?
Absolutely.
Um, so that being said, thank you so much to everybody for coming tonight. We appreciate you. It has been a really fun time talking Stephen King. We love, 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 love Stephen King. Matter of fact, we are planning on doing September being the month of his birthday. We're planning on doing a Stephen King month,
Yes.
and at which point in time we may actually even review Stephen King's greatest movie ever, which is Maximum Overdrive, cocaine
Excellent.
laden ECDC soundtrack. Gotta love it.
Right? Emilio
Uh,
Estevez. Beautiful.
yes, Emilio Estevez, which, as we've discussed before,
They said
I
that out loud.
I can't even do
The
it.
Shining, not as good as Maximum Overdrive.
I mean, let's face it. I mean, he is no Emilio Estevez.
Right. Yeah.
Anyway,
That's
oh
you
my,
can't
I
say that
can't
with a
believe
straight face for too
I
long.
can't, I can't believe I even said it out loud. So, and
We did it all.
that being said, next Thursday night
Yes.
we're looking at the Falcon from the 1890s. Should be a should be a fun film. Chris, is there anything you'd like to tell the people out there?
I'd just like to say we had a little blurb that we were going to kind of start adding. So, freshly dug grave reviews await you on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Slash that like, subscribe, toll that bell, stay up to date with all of our content that we're putting out, and stay spooky, my friends.
Absolutely. And as I like to say every time I sign off, until we meet again, everyone, may your nightmares be groovy. Have a great night, everybody.
See you, everyone.